Howdy, folks. Last year I lost both of my hives, and that killed my drive to upload videos. The last few, I had material for a few more, and didn't wind up turning those into videos. We can talk perhaps in... Well, there will be a lot of dead time during this, so maybe I will talk a little bit about the reasons that I lost them. We'll see. But what you're seeing here is the first real amount of time I've put into getting ready for this coming year. So I'm going to try again. And this year I'm going to try with a different breed of bees. I'm going to try with Saskatraz bees this year, which is just a different... It's still honeybees, just different variety. That are supposed to be a little bit more disease resistant. So the idea here was just to take stock of all my inventory. I did wind up having to burn a couple of my hive components last year because I was not well equipped to store it, and some of it got really pretty gross. And I regret not making better attempts to clean it, but because hive components are fairly expensive, but. Alas. So, not everything that I'll be using is pictured here, but I am taking stock of what I do have. And what I do have is I have a couple of deep bodies, which I think are in the bottom right-hand corner of the frame here. And they are empty. I don't have any deep frames. I had to burn them all, or chose to burn them all. And everything else you see that's a hive body is a super. So, I was very hopeful last year. And then, sort of, in the front of my folding table there, just to the left of where I'm standing, to the left of where I'm standing there are a couple of rectangles that are sort of standing up, that are taller than they are wide. Those are the nucleus hives I was given last year. The nucleus hives I get this year should be pretty similar. So, what I've just grabbed there, what I'm cutting apart there, are... super frames. That's the way they come if you buy them in bulk at the place that I buy some of my equipment. So yeah, just taking inventory was the idea here, seeing what condition my stuff is in, and getting those frames into the supers and getting everything sorted. The two supers that are on the far left, with sort of the one that's askew on top of them, that I've just taken away. Those two that are still there in the corner are not full of honey, but they have quite a bit in them, and those I'm probably going to feed to my bees. That was about as much honey as I managed to get out of my hives last year, but I didn't get on harvesting it fast enough to warrant trying to extract it. And some wax moths got in there. Yeah, I guess I'll talk a little bit about what happened last year. So one of the hives, I lost the queen during an inspection, so that one was entirely on me. The other one, I found the queen disposed of. She died somehow inside the hive. I don't know if she was killed by the colony or what, but she was dumped out the front of the hive by the workers. And I don't know if it was disease. I don't know what I was trying to show the camera here. I don't know if it was disease that killed her or if it was something that I did. I just don't know. But lost that queen. I attempted to replace her. I went in and I killed all of the queen cups that they'd made, removed them. There you can see the wax moths, what they've done a little bit on that frame that I was just showing the camera at the bottom. And but that was a frame of honey. The bees will like that, even though there might be wax moth type stuff in them. I'm not sure what I was saying there, but yeah. So tried to replace that queen last year, didn't work out great. I don't know what happened to that one, but she clearly was not a favorite of the hive either. So, and then we cut to after I'd done my initial inventory, I went down to Georgia and I bought some stuff that I needed from the place where I buy my components. So I bought a couple more deep frames and some deep frame... I'm sorry, I bought some deep hive bodies, and then I bought some deep frames. And... now I'm gonna fill those up. So I should be taking delivery of my bees sometime this coming week. I'm recording this on the 14th of May. All of this footage was taken this past week or the week before. I've been waiting quite a long time, it feels like, for my bees this year. This variety that I'm getting, the Saskatraz, you'll have to excuse my voice, I'm recovering from a little bit of a head cold. This variety that I'm getting this year, my supplier takes a little bit longer to get them in. The queens only come from approved suppliers of this particular variety, and I think the U.S. suppliers out of California, they're originally Canadian, I believe. So it takes a little bit longer for them to get a hold of them, and we've had a very slow spring. It took a long time for the freezes to stop in the evenings, but I think we're finally out of it now. So now what we're looking at here is I'm trying to scrape some of the gross stuff that got on. These were my old deep hive bodies from last year. I'm trying to scrape some of the decay off of them from when they sat out last year after I'd lost the hive. They really did get quite gross, which is why I burned the other two and all the frames. But I will not be doing that again this year. I've discovered ways that you're meant to store frames after you lose, or excuse me, frames and hive bodies after you've lost a colony, and the preferred method is to put the whole thing in a large bag and then put it in the freezer. And the idea behind that is nothing's going to survive the freeze, and then you're free to dry store the components inside. So that's what I will be doing. Should I lose my colony, which, let's hope not. I have a chest freezer now. I was actually aware of this method last year, and could have saved my stuff if I'd just gone out and bought a freezer, but I didn't, so instead I chose to store my hive components out in the hot sun under a black trash bag, which created an ideal habitat for all sorts of things that like to eat honey, with no bees to protect them. So what I wound up with was some lovely decomposing beeswax and honey and all sorts of critters that were tunneling through the frames. It was a nasty sight, one of the nastiest I've ever seen in my life. So again, just cleaning up these hive components, any residue. We're trying not to remove all the propolis, because the propolis is good for the bees, but trying to remove anything that is not propolis that is built up on these. And here we're going to put some new deep frames in our deep frame bodies here. Deep hive bodies, excuse me. Up on top of the supers in the background there, you can see a couple of their deep frame. They are deep frames, but they are bright green. And those are, I think I showed them to the camera when I pulled them out of the car. They are called drone comb. And they are a different size of hex. And they actually are so large that the queen will not intentionally lay worker eggs inside of them. So you'll get a whole frame full of drones. And that would normally not be desirable because drones are not useful to the colony except for reproduction. But it is a useful measure against mites, and the reason is it's thought that perhaps mites prefer drones to workers because they have a longer, they spend a longer time capped up inside of a frame, and that gives is it longer? I might be telling tales. But because for reasons regarding their life cycle, the drones are thought to be preferred by the varroa mite. So the idea is that you put one of these frames in there, they build out the wax, the queen lays a whole bunch of eggs in there, you get a whole frame worth of drone larvae, and then you, while they're still in the pupa stage, you pull the frame, you put it in a bag, and you freeze it. And that kills all of the larvae, or the pupa, the drone pupa, but it also kills all the mites, and this is thought to be a way to control mites. That's the idea. So I bought a couple of those to experiment with them this year. What we're looking at here is, of course, my hive setup. This is the stand that I built last year, and I'm weed whacking around it, and you can see I moved my table out of the way to get a little bit better access to some of this stuff that I'm whacking. So, and you can also see my my not bird bath but bee bath, I guess, on the ground there. The other thing to note about my setup this year is off camera I re-leveled the stand, so the stand is a little bit closer to level than it was last year. It even in this image it looks like it's leaning forward quite a lot. It is, but not by as much as it might look. Last year it was quite a lot, and I've remedied that a bit. So hopefully they'll be just a tiny bit more stable than they were last year. And that just required a little bit of excavation to get the cinder blocks a little bit deeper underground on, I think, the back end, the left end, as we're looking at it from here. A lot of the rest of this is cleaning up various bits of these shrubs here that were, I thought, unsightly or I thought were in the way somehow. I'm probably going to cut most of this out of the video and cut to the end where you can see perhaps some of the difference that this made. There's quite a bit I can cut out here. Alright, here we are on the other end. I don't know that it's tremendously obvious how much difference that made. But that gave me a little bit more room to work behind the hives without smacking my head against branches, among other things. Alright, and then what we're looking at here is I went out and I actually got some mulch to try to... Last year I had a fabric weed barrier that I put underneath the hive stand, and that did not last very long. It worked decently well for a month, maybe, and then it did not work so great after that. So this year, gonna try the mulch and see how much of a better job that does. I probably could have gotten about twice as much as I did, because I would like to do the area over to the right there, where the... I don't know so much to the right as like in the background there, underneath where the picnic table is. I'd like to do all of that in mulch as well, but I was not able to do that. Yeah, and so you'll see I was able to sort of get the area underneath the stand covered up here, but not much beyond that. But hopefully this will make a difference in terms of keeping weeds down. And it's cedar mulch as well, so I'm hopeful that it will keep bugs away from the base of the hives, keep ants away, etc. That's the hope anyway. You may notice that I dress really like far too well for some of the activities that I do, but I don't know, I'm just generally averse to dressing casually even when the situation calls for it. I think it was pretty warm that day as well. It's probably in the mid-70s, if not 80. Alright, there's not much more to show. I'm looking forward to this year and how well it goes. Hopefully better than last year. And I'll be taking delivery sometime this week, and hopefully I'll have a video next week of that, of taking delivery, but we'll see. Alright, see you later.